Good morning in 720p. I've got about 50 minutes until I've got to go to work today, and I wanted to talk about something. I've got a rough idea, but I don't really know where to go with it. Also, today I've got the extra challenge of I'm not home alone anymore. So I'm trying to shut the thoughts out that there are other people in my house that can hear me and still keep talking to myself, which is a challenge. I think it was way too early in the morning for me to be recording this. I don't really have the thoughts fully formed to go any further than that. But practice is practice, so I don't give a shit. I ran out of milk for my coffee, so that coffee case is kind of shit. Good morning. Been awake about an hour now. I've got to go to work in 25 minutes. But I wanted to talk about something. I want to talk about something every day. That's my goal. Today, I just kind of wanted to talk about learning to slow down and take time for yourself. Because for me, in my life recently, the start of this year, I felt very optimistic and motivated coming into 2025. And that's because over the last 5 years of my life, I've made such good progress towards becoming the person I want to be. Before 2020, I was going through a very tough time. I struggled quite a lot with social anxiety. I had a bit of an existential crisis. I didn't really know what I wanted to do or who I was, or, what my purpose in this world was. Still not really sure on a lot of those things, but I've overcome the main struggles I had of anxiety. I'm still there as well, but it's nowhere near as debilitating as it was. I couldn't really go outside and socialise. I struggled to get a job and, all the things that you need to live, really. But now that I've achieved those things, the hard thing for me has been stepping off the treadmill of giving myself permission to not need to constantly be trying to be productive. Because I think a part of me worries that because at one point in my life I wasn't doing anything, I was, because of all the mental issues that I had, I couldn't be happy, essentially. That I feel like if I'm not constantly trying to work on myself and become a better person every single day, every single minute, every single second, then I'm wasting my time and I'm going to fall back into the person that I was before. I feel like I'm going to regress into this unhappy state that I was in. But that's not the case. I've done the work and I'm never going to lose that. The confidence that I've built in myself, the life that I've created, it's not going to just go away if I stop trying to be productive for a few minutes, a few days, even a few weeks, months, you know. But that's the way that I've got it hammered into my brain, is that I expect that if I stop, I'm going to regress. But what I think has been good for me to remind myself is that being still is not the same thing as stagnating. Just stopping and allowing yourself to be is not going to cause you to start regressing into old and negative habits. You're not going to become a version of yourself that you were in the past just because you aren't trying to become a better version of yourself all the time. And I think that it's important to take time to do nothing, you know, to just recognize how far you've come and enjoy, you know, your time here. And it's also just like setting myself unreasonable expectations is going to just lead to me viewing myself as a failure. Like, I came into the start of 2025 after last year. The start of 2024, I had a lot of things going on that I overcame by the end of the year. So for me, it felt like last year was such a good year, and I wanted to keep that momentum. I wanted, 2025 was going to be another great year. I wanted to just keep building off of that momentum and try and, just excel in everything that I possibly could. But setting myself that vague goal of just make this year better than last, that's not something tangible. That's not something that I can visually see as something that I'm achieving. Like, you need to set yourself specific goals that are reasonable and then work towards them as the best you can, but you don't have to do it all the time. And the last month or so, it was starting to kind of, beat me up with the fact that I wasn't in any way being able to visually see how I'm improving. Like, in small ways I can, but for me, I think I was literally in the mindset of, if I've not done like a list of, I was tracking habits that I was trying to build on my phone. I had like 5-6 different things that I wanted to be doing, daily, or, exercising twice a week, doing all these things that I wanted to, I saw that I needed to do to better myself. But by constantly tracking that and trying to be consistent with it to the point of like obsession, it didn't matter if I did all of these things daily at the end of the day, but I was beating myself up for not doing that, and that was just leading for me to lose motivation and just end up feeling worse because I felt that I was failing at my goals. But the reality is that I'm still in such a much better place than I was back then. But in my head, I was worried that by not keeping on top of these goals every single day, I was regressing to the person that I was 5 years ago. But that's not the case at all. I don't need to worry about that. You don't need to be productive every day. Sometimes the most productive thing you can do is nothing. Just allow yourself to exist. I think that's all I've got to say on that. I hope everyone has a nice day.